tolerance and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together. Oh, so much of things that we need to see about.
So much of things we, the people, need to see about here in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. This is our home. We have a duty to make it better, to enhance it, to transform it. I want to welcome you to the Dynamic Hour. Again, we have that moment to discuss, to talk about what's happening here in our country. And I want to start off this morning, as usual, by encouraging those on Facebook and YouTube to please share the live. Sharing is caring. Last night I mentioned that the World Bank visited, a delegation visited the solar farm in Limley in Carriacou. And it's part of this $51 million or so project. I think the airport is included, government buildings, the Limley solar farm. That's very important, because opportunities will be created for people with that kind of investment. And then I told you about the Caribbean Development Bank with the United Kingdom, gifting Grenada with 10 million pounds. That's about, closer to 40 million EC, right? It's closer to 40 million EC. It's not 40 million EC, but closer to that region, 35 million, 36 million EC. So quite a bit coming in for Grenada to help Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. And you hear the opposition from time to time saying, well, nothing is happening, nothing is coming our way. But when those things do happen, they don't talk about it.
Grenada will soon benefit from the World Bank's Caribbean Efficient Green Energy Buildings project, which will invest in retrofitting public buildings and other facilities with solar systems. It will also include technical assistance to address regulatory and technical constraints, build capacity in the planning, implementation, and operation of these investments in a sustainable manner. A team from the World Bank just concluded a visit to Carriacou to assess the damage caused by Hurricane Beryl in July at the solar PV plant at Limley and the overall landscape to implement other supporting projects. Grenada's investment is valued at US $51.6 million, including loans and grants from various agencies, IDA, and the CDB. World Bank Senior Energy Specialist Anne Pham shared an update on the visit.
Looking at the options, how to repair the damage in these solar farms, we will look at the options and what actually additional work the government may need to I know that there is insurance coverage, there will be additional, I think, from the original contractor, etc. But on top of that, we want to know what else actually the government need, an option, and we discuss option how to help. And also we want to discuss with Green Lake to see any challenges in running the system heavily invested in renewable energy, whether any problem in dispatching energy to ensure the quality of the service, etc. And anything the project can support to improve the operation of the system, the whole system in Carriacou.
Energy specialist Rochelle Johnson said support will be given to the Grenada Electricity Services, GRENLEC, for the installation of utility-scale BESS and transmission system upgrade.
We'll be also improving the regulatory frameworks in the participating countries as well as at the regional level, as well as to increase the capacity where it comes to the use of energy efficient equipment as well as renewable energy. For Grenada specifically, we will be investing in public facilities, so retrofitting with energy efficient equipment as well as distributed solar PV. In addition, the project will also support GRENLEC in terms of doing a utility scale solar PV as well as a battery energy storage system at the Maurice Bishop International Airport.
Technical consultant Agostino Garcia is optimistic the visit to the solar farm will assist in the decision-making process toward improving resilience on the island.
Probably have kind of a double, triple objective. One, to learn with the damages, what happened. We have an fortunate event that gives us two sides of PV plants with very different damages. So we want to see the main reasons why that occurred. And the triple is actually to learn from this in terms of building resilient measures into new projects and the projects that the bank is actually supporting going forward. So as I said, it's very unfortunate this happened. At the same time, it's an opportunity to learn with the errors, with the problems that we might find in the installations, because we want obviously to build on them.
Over 500 buildings in Grenada, Guyana and St. Lucia will benefit from the project.
Right. So Grenada will benefit from this project. And I think it's about, what, $50-something million. So that's a very, very good one. Government buildings will be targeted to have, or to be solar powered using the sun, right? Using the sun, and that would cut the cost for electricity and, energy generally for the government, right? So you're going to save taxpayers a lot of money. And that's a really good thing. I told you about the UK 10 million pounds, and they will be investing in geothermal energy, and they'll be using Grenada as a test, test drilling to make sure that they can generate electricity right here from geothermal. So the Barbados-based Caribbean Development Bank on Monday said it has taken a significant step towards advancing geothermal energy development in the region, starting with Grenada. So they're starting with Grenada, they've partnered with the United Kingdom. They've partnered with the United Kingdom, and they're going ahead with Grenada. So the CDB said that it has signed a 10 million pounds memorandum of understanding with the United Kingdom's Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office and the Grenada government to support that country's geothermal test drilling. So they're going to be starting here in Grenada with an investment of 10 million pounds sterling. All right. So that is good for Grenada. That is really, really good. You don't hear the opposition talk about those good things. All they want to talk about is negative stuff. They concoct stories, they make up things. And that is why I applaud the Honorable David Andrew, for putting on the table the facts regarding TAMCC numbers, the amount of people who graduating from TAMCC, who signing up for TAMCC. NULO should do the same thing too. In fact, this morning I saw online a post from the New Life organization speaking to registration at Mount St. Evans. Right? Let me just get that there for you. But let me play firstly what the minister had to say about the numbers, all right? About the numbers regarding TAMCC enrollment and completion.
Madam President, so I look at these figures and I want to point out this document contains the enrollment and withdrawal numbers from 2019 to 2025. So 2019 to 2020, one school year, 2020 to 21, 2021 to 22, 2022 to 23, 23 to 24, and 24 to 25. And I want to just go through the enrollment figures at TAMCC for those years. In 2019 to 2020 was 1,922. In 2020 to 2021, that's before we got into office, was 1,944. In 2021 to 2022, the election year, it was 2,086. In 2022 and 2023, 1,946. In 2023 to 2024, 2,080. In 2024 to 2025, 2,170. Now, I want you to point out that the enrollment is trending upwards based on these figures. It's trending upwards consistently. These figures out because I want the records to be set clear, Madam President. As far as we are concerned, the free tuition policy and our interventions at the level of TAMCC so that these young minds can get easier access to continued education is working because we see that the enrollment is increasing, the dropouts are decreasing, and the students who stay and complete, which is the third column, continues to increase from 1,669 to 2,057 in 2025. The people on the other side, in the other place, and on the other side of this house who want to perpetuate these falsehoods must stop it. The Calypsonians will say, them have to stop that.
Yeah, so that's a really good thing he did to put the numbers on the table because Emlyn Pay is out there saying that the numbers are dropping. And that is not true. That is false because you heard the Minister of Education break down and provided the numbers for the different years. And right now, the numbers, it's trending upwards, which is really good. So the free tuition policy is working.
Is that something that falls good with you?
I'm not seeing where is it given priority. So let's use a social program such as the what you call it, free tuition program.
Yeah.
Excellent example. That's a wonderful program.
Or a toilet program, or how's it called? It's called something else.
Right, the housing program.
Housing program, yeah.
So the point I'm making is that these are programs generally that existed before. So let's pull out one from the bag that didn't exist before, the free tuition program. Now, you take a policy position that every single child, Diali's child, Campbell's child, right?
Yeah.
You get where I'm going with this. Everyone will receive free tuition. And I have no problem with that if we can afford it. I have no problem. Now, the child who does not have transportation, for example, cannot access this. So it's not surprising that numbers are going down. It's not surprising that a social program that's so important, you underspend.
Yeah, and
in an area like that?
There is a concern that it's not extended to private schools as well. Whatever is happening there. The free books program was one of those that wasn't extended to private institutions. So you get
So Christopher Diali seemed to not understand this whole thing. All right? He's on the table doing, the interview, he and Campbell. But he then stated there's a concern that it's not extended to the private schools, I think. He made a reference to the free textbook program, but they're actually talking about the free tuition policy.
You underspend.
Yeah, and
in an area like that?
There's a concern that it's not extended to private schools as well.
Yeah, there's a concern that it's not extended to private school as well. But he's missing it. The free tuition policy. It's for tertiary level institution, right? TAMCC or Lone College and NULO, the New Life Organization. So TAMCC and NULO. That is what is covered by this free tuition policy. So all the students who are attending NULO or TAMCC, all the young people who are attending NULO or TAMCC, their parents do not have to find the $810 every year to pay TAMCC because it's free. The government is paying that for them. So even if you come from Westmoreland, that's a private school, and you are attending TAMCC, you will benefit from that free tuition policy because TAMCC is covered, right? And you have students or young people who come in from the private schools and who come in from the public schools and go into TAMCC. So what Christopher Diali said there is not correct. And I want to believe that he doesn't understand this whole thing. Then he made a reference to the free textbook program.
Whatever is happening there, the free books program was one of those. That wasn't extended to private institutions. So you get a concern. But
right. So he made a reference to the free textbook program now. It's a program that the NDC introduced between 2008 to 2013. That program was for all the students in private schools and public schools. But when the NNP came back in power in 2013, they removed all the private schools from the program. They said the parents who are sending their children to private schools could afford to buy books for their children. But the NDC had it a different way. The NDC saw a child as a child. They didn't look at their parents' house or the vehicle that they drive in or where they're working. They saw it as a program for all the students, in private schools and in public schools, because we all pay taxes. The NNP came and they changed that. And it's the same thing the NNP wants to do with the free tuition policy. If they're in power, they want to select who should get that free tuition, and those who they believe could afford, they would not get it. That is exactly what they're eyeing. That is exactly what they intend to do, the NNP. So Emlyn Pay going there on that program, and it's not a very popular program on MTV. This particular program with Campbell and Diali, it's not a popular program. People don't really view that program much. But just saying, folks, excuse me, just saying, this is a good program. And you have more and more young people signing up for TAMCC and signing up for NULO. In fact, I saw NULO put a post up this morning, 53 minutes ago, saying interview and registration of applicants for electrical, construction, hairdressing, and food preparation at NULO, Mount St. Ovens today. So today, they're having that registration from 8 a.m. So they're inviting applicants to, be there for the interview and registration process, which is good. And then numbers 2 is actually up, NULO and TAMCC. And all credit to the government of Grenada for introducing the free tuition policy. That's a wonderful policy to help a lot of people, young people, to go back, because I know of young people who, or young persons who did not complete TAMCC because their parents couldn't afford. It was not because they didn't attain the passes at the secondary school level to go on to TAMCC. It's just that their parents couldn't afford. So now they get the opportunity to go back and complete college. They're taking full advantage of that. Some again gone on to NULO because they want to learn a skill. They want to become some mason, some carpenter, some electrician, some plumber, some hairdresser, some chef or cook, some tailor, seamstress, something like that. So they went back to NULO because it's an opportunity. You don't have to pay every year. You may have to get your uniform and some other basic stuff. And I am not even bothered with Emlyn Pay and her rubbish, what she's saying, because Grenadians or Grenadian parents, when I say Grenadians, I'm talking about Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, right? So Grenadians, Carriacouians, Petit Martiniquans, the parents will go the extra mile to make sure that their children, that their young ones go to TAMCC or go to college or attend school. Even if they have to work 2 different jobs, they would go that extra mile because they want their child or children to complete TAMCC. So this talk about not having money for bus or transportation, that's utter rubbish, right? I can tell you that parents in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, they would sacrifice all to make sure that their children attend college, right? And giving them money for bus, that is something that they will do. And if you're saving $810 in the tuition cost, right, the fee, you're saving that because on a normal day, you would have to pay it. So that same $810 could be used for the term for bus or half of the term. You see the point? So you see, NNPs out there spreading misinformation, and they have nothing good to say, nothing good to highlight as it relates to the government's performance. Because she was asked, you listened to the budget, you responded to the budget, but isn't there one thing or 2 or 3 things that you can pull out and commend and applaud? And she comes across in this conniving way, right? With her voice, her tone. But at the end of the day, people are seeing through this character. People are seeing through Emlyn Pay. Emlyn Pay is worse than Keith Mitchell. She's worse than Keith Mitchell. Because something as good as the free tuition policy, you speak to young people, ended TAMCC 2. Because remember, that initiative was introduced in 2022. We're now in 2025. So a number of beneficiaries passed through this whole institution or institutions, both of them, NULO and TAMCC, and they benefited from the free tuition policy. So if you speak to them, they will tell you that it was a serious burden lifted off the backs of their parents. So this is a good thing, a very good thing. But Emlyn is out there misinforming the public about the numbers. The numbers are not dropping. The numbers continue to increase because after all, it's free. It's free. So more young people will go to TAMCC and go to NULO. Look at TAMCC, they're adding more programs to accommodate the young people. So look, I thought I should bring that to you, the public, to show you how disingenuous this Emlyn Pay and the NNP put together, how they are. They're not about Grenada. They don't want good for Grenada. They don't want to see Grenada move forward. No. But let's move on. Our beloved Prime Minister continues to represent his constituency exceptionally. You know, a friend told me if Keith Mitchell was sincere, genuine, real with his people in St. George Northwest, we would have seen during Keith Mitchell time some of the things that the most honorable Deacon Mitchell is doing for his people in St. David.
The WASH program continued, Mr. Speaker. We, through the pilot stage, constructed 37 bathrooms and toilets in the village of Belial, and we've since moved to the villages of Barrett and Belplain, where 33 units are under construction, and in Part, in a small village known as the Coconut, another 13 units are under construction. I want to pause there, Mr. Speaker, to point out, as the MP for the South said, when we build bathrooms, Mr. Speaker, we are not seeking to give our people the worst. We are ensuring that bathrooms are built, that they tiled, that they painted, that the faucets, the sink, the toilets, the plumbing, the septic tanks are all done, that the bathrooms are painted, they are built as concrete roofs so that persons can in fact put tanks above the roofs to assist them with rainwater harvesting. And we work with NOASA through an MOU to ensure that they are actually supplied with water. So, Mr. Speaker, when we talk about the dignity of particularly women and girls, and particularly senior citizens, we ensure that we move them from a state of open defecation in pit latrine, or sometimes people still bathe in rivers, they still fetch water from the rivers. We can't pretend those things are not happening in far larger numbers than they should be, Mr. Speaker. So I want to compliment the team instituting the WASH program, not only in St. David, but the program has also spread to St. Andrew, Northwest, and I believe Southwest as well. And the report I have indicates, in the case of St. Andrew, that there are over 40 units that are being constructed. The WASH program is being run through a non-profit organization that is partnering with the government and NOASA called Nation Builders Inc. It's a pity that the member of Parliament for St. Andrew East has followed the leader and left the chamber because she inquired from me during the Finance Committee meeting as to whether any subvention had been given to Nation Builders, and I told her I would report back to her. So even though she isn't here, I hope our constituents are listening, because the WASH program is taking place in our constituency, not because of God, but because of this government which cares for the people. And so, for the record, Mr. Speaker, I'm reporting that over the period, $4,535,000 has been allocated as a one-off subvention to Nation Builders Inc. to support the WASH program throughout various.
Yes, and that's a very good thing. And I love the fact that he highlighted that the program is in St. Andrew and it's in the Honorable Kate Lewis constituency, in that particular constituency. So they are constructing modern bathrooms, bathroom and toilet facility for people in need, people with pit latrines, right? It's also in the south and southeast. I think they're moving St. John, St. Patrick up that side too. And the bathrooms, they can also serve as hurricane shelters, right? Because you realize they're actually decking the top of it. And it's wooden houses. So they're building those bathrooms attached to wooden houses, many of them. And if they continue to deck off the top, then it can also serve as that, just in case. I'm not saying that people should not go to the hurricane shelters, but just in case. But I'm saying it's a good thing, and they've allocated $4 million+ to Nation Builders with the WASH program, so more people can get bathrooms and toilets, and you see the inside of the bathrooms and toilet area. It's no old thing. It's good thing, quality thing. They're taking their time to build something proper for the people. Something that, in other words, you're billing for somebody, but if you're in that area and you need to use a restroom in that village, the Prime Minister can actually ask to use it, and he will be comfortable in using it. Or any MP or any individual, because you're not just billing any old thing for anybody. You're doing a good thing, a proper thing, a modern thing, spacious indeed. I think it's about 8 by 12. I think so. I think it's 8 feet by 12, or 8 by 8, 8 feet by 8 feet. Some a little bigger. It depends on the family size and so on. But they're doing a fantastic job. Give them what is theirs. Remember, the NNP left government, leaving 8,715 people still using pit latrines and not having running water and so on. So the NDC decided they would seek to eradicate, to get rid of the pit latrines step by step by step. They may not accomplish all this term, but the target is to get rid of all. But at least they've started the process, and so far so good. Because you're talking about families being positively impacted. When they construct a modern bathroom and toilet facility, it's not just for one person. Many a times it's for 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 people in that house using that facility. So we have to really give the government kudos and nation builders, because you have contractors who are volunteering part of their time while they are paid for part. They are volunteering part of their time. The painters, the plumbers, the actual contractor. It's not something where they're just paying them to do the work. They're volunteering a portion of their time to do the work, and they're being paid for a portion. And then you have the private sector who's on board, helping, donating, giving towards this cause. And then you have the people who live in the house. They too have to volunteer their time and effort. They have to do some things, because when you are involved in it, you appreciate it more. So this is a really good initiative, and I want to commend the Most Honorable Deacon Mitchell and his team, because they see in the vision. They understand the importance of having a bathroom and toilet. At least the young women and elderly and so on, they would get their dignity back. They would be more confident. Because, look, there are a lot of women who, because they don't have indoor bathroom and toilet facility, they don't invite their boyfriends and so on home, right? Because they're somewhat embarrassed that they're not in a position to have that individual use an indoor bathroom and toilet facility. And a lot of people can attest to that they just don't want to invite even friends over because of that. But if you have that, then you can invite friends, because they can use a proper toilet and bathroom area, right? Which is good, which is really, really good. So the government is serious about transforming positively the lives of our people, giving them the womanhood back, giving them, that confidence back again. That is very good. So people continue to say, if you're the Prime Minister, you should at least help your constituency in such a way that it should be the envy of others. But when you look at Keith Mitchell, he been there for 23 years and a half as prime minister. But look at his constituency. They have not moved anyway, anyway much. They have not improved significantly. It took the NDC to come and build back the Molyneux Road. It took the NDC to be doing so many things in that constituency.
Ministry of Youth and Sports, and in particular the Minister of Youth and Sports, Honorable Thelma Thomas, and on my own behalf, we are happy to hand over 20 pair of football boots to, what's the name of our club?
Bellevue Rangers.
To the Bellevue Rangers. So we want to make sure that Bellevue Rangers become the star club in St. David's and in Grenada. So this is just the start of our support. We're going to be working closely with your coach. I'm very happy to see all of you out this morning, getting a sweat, being active and learning football. And I'll coming back to see you guys.
Hi, my name is Jay Charles, and I'm from Bellevue Rangers. Thank you, Honorable
Right. You see, that is significant. What our beloved Prime Minister is doing, he is investing, and the government is investing in the future of this country. You realize the kids, the young people, they just love our Prime Minister. They just want to be in his presence. They want to be around him because, you see, he knows what a child, what making a child is, right? Bringing a child on the face of the earth. Not just adopting. I mean, you can adopt, nothing wrong with that. But he knows what it feels like to be a real father, right? To bring up a child. When I say a real father, they are fathers who take care of adopted children very well. But for him, I think he has 2, 3 children. So he knows how to care for, how to be there, and how to support the kids and the young ones, right? And you've seen it, the smiles on the faces of the young people. And I really want to applaud him, the way he's investing in his constituency and in the young people, which is very important. Very, very important.
My name is Presley Samuel. We are here in Bellevue playing field, recognizing the giving out of the balls to the different clubs and teams, which we very much appreciate because a long time we never had that happening here. And I think it's a good incentive to get the young boys and girls back playing football. We used to have the crowd here, football going nice, but for the past 2 years we haven't played any football. So we're looking right now to revitalize the game. And this comes in an appropriate time when we can all join together, hats and hand with the seniors, the supporters, the teams, and football fans.
My name is Jalen Monroe. I'm from Bellevue, St. David. We are very happy to get this donation. Just want to say thank you very much.
Yeah, and that's the spirit. The young people, the young men and the young women. You look at the netball courts and the basketball courts. The NDC is investing in lighting them, making sure that they're lit during the nighttime, making sure that the courts are refurbished, upgraded, so that when you finish work, you can still get a sweat. You can still play some basketball. You can still play some netball. You can still play some football during the nighttime because the playing fields are being upgraded and lit. That is the spirit. You have community centers. They refurbish and continue to recondition and repair those community centers and equip them with stuff that should be in there to enhance the community and to build community spirit. Before time, you go to a community center, you would see women knitting, you would see them making stuff, right? The community centers can be used for, helping adults to read, adult literacy classes and so on, to read, to write, to reason, helping the young ones with their homework and other things like that because they are retired teachers and so on in the village, in the community, who are willing to assist, to help in so many ways. So this is a good thing. This is a wonderful thing. That didn't used to happen under the NNP. In fact, many of those community centers were given to NNP supporters. to pack things in there and to store things in there. But now you're seeing a difference. You're seeing how things are changing, right? Things are changing totally. And that is what you want. That is what you want to see in communities, because you may not see the importance of that now, but down the road, because you have the young ones occupied, playing basketball, playing football, playing netball, right? In the community centers, doing stuff. That is what you want to see. And we are seeing that happening. And again, thanks to the NDC administration. Thanks to the Most Honorable Deacon Mitchell and his team. They're doing a fantastic job where that is concerned. Some people may downplay it, but this is big. This is big. And we've seen also how the police is integrating into those communities, how this harmony is being established between the police and the community. And that is what you want, the police. So not just community centers and playing fields and basketball courts and netball courts and so on, but you see the police, they're doing a lot of community outreach, building bonds, building relationship with the community. And then you see the government supporting the police in so many ways. I think on Wednesday, they will be officially handing over the police headquarters. I think it's on Wednesday, right? I think so. I think I saw that post somewhere, either on GIS or I think it was on GIS, right? So on Wednesday at, because there's some arrangements for traffic in that area. I think it's on Wednesday. I think so. Let me just look. All right. So they will be handing over. Right. So no, not Wednesday. Friday, 28th. That's Friday, not Wednesday. Friday of this week. So today is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. At 4:30 p.m., the Carenage St. George's. All right. The Royal Grenada Police Force headquarters will be officially handed to the police. They would have a handing over ceremony. That's good. So you have the police headquarters, the St. Paul's Police Station. The NDC administration did some work there to upgrade it, to modernize it. The Hillsborough Police Station, the NDC did some work there again to upgrade it, to modernize it. The Grenville Police Station, they're working on that now to relocate the police officers and work on that police station. The Central Police Station, they're doing some work there. Then you have the Coast Guard base, some work. A lot of things is happening for the police. The pay and grade, they got that. Well, at least from this month, they should see a difference in their salary. If it's not this month, but next month, based on the budget, the completion of the budget, all the debates and so on. But at the end of the day, the police is enjoying good times, really good times, thanks to the NDC administration. Thanks to the NDC administration. Big up all yourself, because that didn't used to happen under the NNP. That is why all those police stations, they just run down, abandoned. Many of them. The Grand Roy Police Station, they just abandoned that. They moved to the pool next door. And you can go on and on to other police stations in the different communities. So the NDC, they continue to do a great job. And that is boosting the morale of the police. You see them in the community, engaging the people, building relationships, forging that tie, that bond. That is what you want. So the police would get information, intel easily. All right. So that's really, really good. All right. There is a town hall meeting. The government has a town hall meeting. I think it's Wednesday. Let me. I saw the flyer, right. So there's a national town hall meeting at the Grenada Trade Center Wednesday as tomorrow, the 26th of March, starting at 6 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center. The main focus areas: a report by the cabinet-appointed technical working group on oil and gas, Vision 75, resilient and rising, matters of national interest. So they will be talking about things generally. All right, buses are available to and from the venue. So please, if you have time, make it a date. Don't be late and go down at the Trade Center. Tomorrow, God's willing, starting at 6 in the PM. Starting at 6 in the PM. All right? And they will be bringing it live too, but try your best to be there. You can ask a question, you can engage, because it's a town hall style meeting. You will get the opportunity to give suggestions, make recommendations, ask a question or two. You know, that's really good. I love that. I love that. So that's on Wednesday, tomorrow, God's willing, starting at 6 in the PM. That is the way to go. I love that. They should have more town hall meetings throughout the country, talking about, you know, education, health, agriculture, looking at the amount of things that the government is doing in those areas. I think that would be really good. All right? Nice. So the NDC continues to demonstrate that they're able to manage this economy in good times and in bad times. All right? They continue to do that, and I love it. I want to say to you, last night I took the liberty to listen to the Beyond the Headlines program. Daisy Hazard, the president of the Public Workers Union, she was on, and Andrew Lewis, I think he's the president general of GTAU. And, you know, Daisy Hazard, to me, came across as very unpatriotic when she spoke about the whole pension issue, the 1958 pension laws, right? Because to her, the government should have every public officer, well, at least those who are in established positions or positions that are covered, as she said, by the 1958 pension laws. But those individuals, they are not permanent. They're not permanently appointed or confirmed. They're unestablished workers, but they're working. So what the government did was to come up with a pension for these people because they were retiring without a pension. They were going home with no pension. The government of the day decided that they would tackle that pension issue first before regularizing, before making many of these people permanent. Because you're talking about almost 5,000 public officers who are temporary, who are unestablished. But when Daisy spoke, it's as though the government should make all these people permanent and give them the 1958 pension. And the 1958 pension is simple. Government alone has to pay the public officer who retires almost 70% of their last highest salary. I think it's 66.66% of their last highest salary. So they have to get gratuity and advance on their pension when they reach, as a lump sum, when they reach 70 years, 72, I think, 72 years, then they get the full amount of their pension. All right? But the government alone, taxpayers alone, have to pay into that until they die, until they're dead. What the government is saying, it's not sustainable. And the NNP said so. The NNP said it's not sustainable. The NDC said the same thing. It's not sustainable. So the government decided to come up with a new pension plan for these people who are unestablished, who are not permanent. But those who are permanent and qualify for the 1958 pension, they get in their pension upon retirement. All right? But those who are unestablished, they fall under a new pension scheme, a new pension plan, where they pay 3% of their salary towards it, and the government matches it with 3%. So the government is paying 3% to them. But remember, when they retire, they get in that pension and they get in the NIS pension. But the only thing is that the NIS pension will kick in when they're 65, the majority of these people. They have to wait until 65 years to get it. So just imagine that the government didn't come up with that brilliant idea of putting in place a pension for these people. What would happen to these people when they retire? They have to wait until 65, as 5 years after reaching the age of 60. 5 years after to get that pension, and if they live to see 65. All right? So the government did a really good thing. But you see, Daisy Hazard and Andrew Lewis, they're talking as though they're in government and they're managing the affairs of government. When the NNP was in power, they didn't chastise or challenge the NNP to make everybody permanent, or to make everybody permanent so that they can fall under the 1958 pension laws. No. In fact, it was business as usual. They accepted the fact that 5,000 plus workers were unestablished and on contract. They accepted that. And these people were retiring and going home without a pension and going back into poverty. And they accepted that. They had no problem with that. But when the NDC came into power, and the NDC said, look, we have to make sure that these people have a pension to go home to. And we must also make sure that they have job security by making them permanent with a particular instrument. Then this whole talk start circulating. You know, that was the conversation. But on the NNP, that was never a conversation. They accepted, the unions accepted the fact that these people were unestablished, and those who were established, they were entitled to their pension and their gratuity, and still the NNP refused to give them the pension and the gratuity. The NNP refused to do that. It took the NDC to come into power and give $75.1 million to 500 plus individuals who retired and was waiting for their pension and their gratuity. The NDC fixed that mess. And the NDC also fixed the mess regarding the unestablished workers who were going home with no pension, no gratuity. The NDC fixed that by introducing a new pension scheme so that when they retire, they can go home with a pension and the burden would not fall back on the state. So now listen to Daisy Hazard and Andrew Lewis. It's as though they want to force the hands of the government. But they are not on the same page with the workers, because the workers are not even worrying Daisy Hazard or Andrew Lewis. They're not even studying them. No. And you see, the union should never try to pick a battle with government. Because look at the amount of things that the government did for workers in the last 2.5 years. Under the NNP, they couldn't even think about those things, much less see it happen. Every time they need to get some increase, they had to go on the streets and march and protest for an increase in their salary. And don't even talk about fringe benefits. They're not getting no fringe benefits and nothing like that. No. So the NDC is a pro-worker government. It's a government that cares about workers and wants good for workers. So the unions, and when they talk, it's as though they want some melee, they want some bacchanal, they want some confrontation, they want some kind of thing, but they're not getting it. Because the workers are satisfied, those unestablished workers, they are satisfied that upon retirement, they're going to get a pension from government. And upon retirement, they're going to get a pension from the NIS when they're 65, or when they're 60, they're going to get a pension from government. They're satisfied with that because that didn't exist under NNP. NNP never thought about doing anything like that. They didn't care. The NNP didn't care about these workers. No. But we are seeing today that workers are happier. They're happier. But folks, you would always have those elements in the union who want to pick a fight. But they're not getting through this time wrong. Because workers have sense. They know who cares about them and their interest. Folks, I want to thank you for being a part of the program this morning. I want to wish you all the best. I will be back with you tonight in the hub, starting from 8 in the p.m. I want to say to all of us, let's remain focused. Let's understand that the country is being transformed, and we all need to put our hands to the wheel to make sure that it happens. So have a wonderful day. Take good care, and bye for now.